sign on at 9 o'clock, right? My time? Oh, so turn up till you sign. No,
He said no.
Oh, can I get one of those waters with the little
yes.
drink in it, please?
Which you want the tea?
Oh, you got drink mixing?
You know the little.
The drink mixing?
Yeah. You want one too?
Why you didn't offer me one of them? Get up, get up, give me one of them.
The tea.
I take the tea.
Whatever you give me, I'm taking it. I don't think about drink mix. There's no use stuff so I can stop talking.
Now she want to call.
Yeah.
I don't have no wood.
Oh, you let her get you one.
He
You
come
good
back to
water,
that
man?
game.
Huh?
You good water?
Yes, thank you.
Hey, Danielle, I came over the other day. You was asleep. Your mama said you told her to give you 5 minutes. I said I think she'd leave a little bit more than 5 minutes. What time you got to go in tomorrow?
I ain't know you like it.
Oh, okay, I'll be over there. I'll call you when I'm heading that way.
Okay, y'all know that.
Okay.
Recording,
You got somewhere to go in the morning?
it's on.
Oh,
Will you?
okay. I was gonna say y'all come to eat breakfast with me. They finish at 9:30. Yeah, you said they were coming in town. I remember that.
I want on your tablet.
Yeah, but yeah, because breakfast is open at 9:30, so we try to get there before 9:30.
Is it
Good
Deborah
breakfast.
Glad?
Okay. All right, bye. Huh? It's Holiday Inn Express. It's at South Carolina Park.
Deborah.
Right behind the Cheddars. Okay, all right. Okay. You on already?
Yeah, that's what you do. Just,
just had time.
There he go again.
Yeah.
They got him fixed up tonight though.
Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
Cut that hair.
He look a lot better tonight than he looked last
I
night.
don't
That's
care
the
what he
ad.
do, he ain't gonna look better.
Cut that hair.
Oh, God, the boots. Exactly what they look like. Lil Wayne boots. That hurt bad.
He got on number 8, Kobe number 8
Oh, I can see that.
on the pants.
The hair so matted. It look like it
Yeah.
look like you pull on it, it'll fall out.
He sound like a sweat.
Number 8. Yeah.
That's pretty good. Let's see one more. So you going for it? Huh? I see. I see what's going on. Oh, you see it over there too. I didn't notice that.
Oh no, cut here.
Yeah, my bad, Morris. I'll keep it down.
That's the one that
Uh-huh. That's what I got.
it's fine and cool.
Good shit. Time. 8:50.
8:50.
Yeah, when you up there, we speaking there on there?
No. I'm speaking of you're not super phone.
That's
Just
what
one
put
of
it
that
in.
super phone.
You know, you can't never get rid of that.
A black heart. Local black heart.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if that
Yeah,
that
probably so.
state being in a black community.
Mhm. Oh no, yeah, back there. Yeah, that look like off. I mean, set it up. I mean, not his name, not off. But what's the other one?
Yep.
In the group with.
That show was horrible.
Mhm. I agree.
DJ Khaled, Chance the Rapper. Everybody wearing Kobe. They did this song with him.
Coming on Village Therapy.
Hmm?
Coming on Village Therapy from Janine Dix.
Terry was so blessed. He was
Hello, Shawana. How are you? Hi, Gigi. How are you? You ladies had a good day today? You have a cold? Oh, man. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you're taking something for it. Gigi says I'm good now that I see you, sis. I'm well, Shawana. Thank you so much for asking. I look nice? Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I feel pretty good considering I had chemo Thursday and had to have a blood transfusion. I feel pretty good. Yeah, Shawana, I hope you feel better, and make sure you take something for that so it don't get out of hand. Oh, Shawana, I haven't gotten whatever it is that you sent to me. Last I talked to my son, I hadn't received it. I hadn't talked to him today to find out if anything came today, but up until yesterday I hadn't received it. But I'll keep you posted. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes and then I'll go ahead and get started. Gigi, you been in them YouTube streets today? Okay, you said it should be there this week. Oh, okay. Yeah, I've been having my son look out for it. I'm out of town right now, but I've been calling him just about every day, looking out for it. So I'll make sure I let him know, look out for it this week. I appreciate it. Gigi, you been in those YouTube streets today? So Shawana, you haven't been able to create any content or anything to go live since you've been sick? Oh, just in bed. Oh, okay. Well, hopefully it's just a cold and nothing more serious. Make sure you drink lots of fluids and stay hydrated, Shawana. Hi, Miss Iris. How are you? So glad you can join me today for story time. How was your day today? Gigi says I slid in and out of a few lives. Oh, okay. Okay, Shawana, I took off from work the whole week. Like, oh, wow. So you've been, this thing been hanging with you for a week. Oh, man. So sorry to hear that. Hopefully you shake it soon. Miss Iris, I'm so glad you joined us today. How are you? Okay, she wants to say thanks. Me too. Ms. Iris says, I'm good. My day was great. I will be here for a little while. I got to get ready for work. Oh, okay. All right, Ms. Iris, that's understandable. Could you at least stay at least 15 minutes? If you got to check out, I'd appreciate it if you could stay at least 15 minutes. Also, if you all haven't already thumbs me up, could you please go ahead and smash that thumbs up button for me, please? I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Miss Iris. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I know people have to go to work and different things like that. Since you all were in a little early, I'm going to just go ahead and get started. And whoever come in, Gigi, if you'll be my moderator, I appreciate it. And you can remind everybody to thumbs up and ask them to stay at least 15 minutes in case they have to go and leave out. I'd appreciate that. Once upon a time, a young man's father, Yesnol Orisaint, died. Ahmad Sadi, as that was the young man's name, took Yesnol Orisaint's place in running the family store with his mother, Mala Deer. One day, a stranger walked into the store. I am your uncle, said the stranger to Ahmad Sadi. I have come to see you. But my father never spoke of a brother, said Ahmad Sadi. Ahmad Sadi's mother turned around. My husband had no brother, said Mala Deer to the stranger, narrowing her eyes. I assure you it is true, said the stranger. My name is Arif Sakir 247. Years ago, Yasnal Orisaint and I agreed that if something should happen to him, since I have been very fortunate in my life, I will help to bring the same good fortune to your life. Mala Deer was interested. What do you have in mind? She said. I know of a secret place that holds many riches, said Arif Sakar 247. I will take your son. With the wealth he will find there, you and he will be set for life. And so Mala Deer agreed. The old man and the boy traveled for days throughout the desert. At last they came to a cave. You must know that I learned a bit of magic in my day, said the old man to Ahmad Sadi. Don't be surprised by anything you might see. They stepped into the cave. Obviously, pitch black it was. The old man shook open his fist, and a ball of light suddenly appeared, brightening the cave. Under the light, with one long finger, he drew the shape of a circle over the ground. He pulled from his pocket some red dust and threw it over the circle, and at the same time said some magic words. The earth trembled a little before them. The floor of the cave cracked open, and the cracks grew wider and deeper. Then up from below the ground rose a giant white quartz crystal, and it filled the circle. Do not be alarmed, said the magician Viper Nate. Under this giant white crystal lies a treasure that is to be yours if you just wait. He chanted a few magic words, and the giant crystal rose up several feet in the air, moved to the side, and landed over there in a hole. Ahmad Sadi peered into the hole. He saw steps that led down to a dark hole. Fear nothing, said Viper Nate to Ahmad Sadi, but obey me. Go down, and at the foot of the steps follow a long hall. You will walk through a garden of fruit trees. You must touch nothing of them at all. No, not at all. Walk on, come to a large flat stone, and on the stone will be a lighted lamp. Pour out the oil in the lamp and bring it to me. Now go, Ahmad Sadi. Ahmad Sadi slowly stepped down the stairs through the garden of fruit trees, and marvelous to behold, the trees held fruits that sparkled and shone like gold. He could not help but reach out and touch one. Then, too late, he remembered what his uncle had said, but nothing terrible happened. So he figured he might as well put the fine jewel fruit in his vest pocket. Then he plucked another and another jewel fruit till all his pockets were filled. Ahmad Sadi came to the large flat stone, and on it was a lighted lamp, just as his uncle had said. He poured out the oil and took it back to the opening of the cave. Ahmad Sadi called out, "Here I am, uncle." The magician Viper Nate called out in a great hurry, "Give me the lamp." "Just as soon as I'm up," said Ahmad Sadi, wondering why the magician seemed in such a hurry. "No, give me the lamp now," cried the old man, reaching out his hand. For you see, the only way the lamp could come out of the cave was as a gift from one person to another. The magician Viper Nate knew this, and he wanted to get the lamp from the boy as soon as he could and then kill him. Ahmad Sadi felt a chill in the air. Something was wrong. Somehow he knew he must not give up the lamp. "Let me up first," said Ahmad Sadi. "Then will I give you the lamp." Viper Nate was furious. He fell into a rage and barked out more magical words. The giant white quartz crystal rose up, hovered over the hole, and landed. All went dark below. Ahmad Sadi was trapped. For 2 days, Ahmad Sadi despaired. Why didn't I just hand over that old lamp? Who cares about it anyway? Whatever might have come of it, it couldn't have been worse than this. What was I thinking? Rubbing the lamp, he moaned. Oh, how I wish I could get out of here and go home. At once, a huge genie rose up into the air. "You are my master," boomed the genie. "Was that your first wish? To get out of this cave? 3 wishes are yours to command." Ahmad Sadi's mouth fell open, amazed. He mumbled, "Yes, of course." More than anything, he wanted to get out of the cave and go home. The very next moment, Ahmad Sadi was outside his own home, still holding the lamp and with all his jewel fruits in his vest pockets. His mother could not believe the tale her son told. "Magic lamp?" she laughed. "That can't be so." "That old thing?" She took the lamp, grabbed the rag, and started to clean it. if there were really a genie in this old lamp, I would say to it, Genie, make a feast of my son and me and serve it on plates of gold. You can imagine the mother's surprise. The genie rose up out of the lamp, and a feast fit for a king weighed down her kitchen table on plates of glimmering gold. Mother and son enjoyed a feast like no other. Then the mother washed and sold the gold plates and bought necessary things she discovered. From then on, Ahmad Sadi and his mother lived well. One day, Ahmad Sadi thought to himself, why think small? With my jewel fruits, I could marry the princess and become the prince of this land. His mother laughed. You can't just go to a palace with some fine gifts and expect to marry a princess. But Ahmad Sadi urged her to try this. They wrapped some of the jewel fruits in silk cloth, and the mother went to the palace. The guard stopped her at once, but as she insisted she had something very valuable for the Sultan, they let her in. Said the Sultan, what have you brought me in those silk rags? She showed him the jewel fruits. The Sultan was impressed and glad. But if your son is as worthy of my daughter as you say, he must bring me 40 golden trays of the same gems carried in by servants. The mother went home and told her son the Sultan's demand. It's no problem, Ahmad Sadi said. Call for the genie and make your second wish. And so his mother rubbed the lamp and made her second wish. Before long, she was at the steps of the Sultan's palace with 40 golden trays of jewel fruits carried in by as many servants as she needed. The Sultan was pleased. But you cannot think this is enough to win the hand of my daughter, he said. To truly win my favor, your son must build a golden palace for he and my daughter to live. The mother brought back this news too. So for her third wish, the mother asked the genie to create a golden palace. The next morning, right outside the Sultan's bedroom, appeared a huge golden palace, gleaming in the sun. Meanwhile, back at Ahmad Sadi's home, his mother said, it is time for you to go, my son, to meet your princess. Her wishes spent, she gave him the lamp. The next morning, the Sultan called for his daughter. Look at this palace, he said, pointing out the window. This is the husband for you. What do you mean, father? Said his daughter. What do you know about this man? Have you ever met him in the midst of your plan? What's there to know? Said the Sultan. He can make a golden palace appear overnight. He's even more powerful than my royal advisor, the vizier. Yesterday, your vizier was most powerful man in the kingdom, said his daughter, and I was to marry him. Today, this stranger is the most powerful one, and I'm to marry him. Why do you think it matters to me who's the most powerful? It matters to me, said the Sultan. In a lower voice, he said, daughter, you're just excited to get such a fine man. I can't believe this. The princess threw her arms up in despair and she left. In her dressing room, the princess groaned. To Nadia, her lady in waiting, she said, my father is determined to marry me off to this man, no matter what. But maiden, said Nadia, isn't this wonderful, stranger, an excellent match for you? The princess sighed. She looked at her lady in waiting. You don't know how lucky you are, she said. I would rather live your life than to be handed off in this way. And I would rather live yours, said Nadia. The two of them stared at each other for a couple of moments. They were about the same height with the same color hair, with all the scarves maidens like them wore. Let's do it, they said together, and the two of them changed clothes. Just then, Ahmad Sadi was riding to the Sultan's palace on a white horse, ready to meet his bride. The Sultan warmly greeted him. Stay here in my palace until the preparations for your wedding are complete, he said. Ahmad Sadi could not meet the princess until their wedding day. He caught a glimpse of Nadia from a distance, covered in scarves, thinking she was the true princess. The Sultan and everyone else in the palace waited with growing excitement for the wedding, except for one person. The uncle magician who had left Ahmad Sadi trapped in the cave was also the Sultan's vizier. He had recognized Ahmad Sadi at once. He knew there could be only one reason the young man could present all this magic to the Sultan. Ahmad Sadi must have escaped from the cave, and with the lamp. I will get my revenge, swore the vizier. If anyone is to have the lamp, it is me. By his magic, he could tell where Ahmad Sadi had hidden the lamp. While Ahmad Sadi was sleeping, the vizier crept in and took it. In a quiet place, the vizier made his first wish. Genie, do as I say. I want you to take Ahmad Sadi's palace to a faraway place in the desert that no one can find. What the vizier did not know was at that very moment, Nadia was exploring Ahmad Sadi's palace. And there is something else the vizier did not know. The genie thought the vizier had commanded to be taken away also, along with the palace. So the genie sent the vizier, the golden palace, and Nadia inside it all together to a faraway place in the desert. The next morning, the Sultan awoke and saw nothing outside his window where Ahmad Sadi's palace had stood the day before. The next moment, his servants rushed in, announcing that the princess had disappeared. Furious, he called for Ahmad Sadi. What have you done? He yelled in rage. Because of your magic tricks, I have lost my daughter. You must bring her back to me in 3 days, or it will cost you your head. Ahmad Sadi thought he would simply use his second wish and the genie would bring back the princess Alicia and the castle too. But his magic lamp was gone. He looked everywhere. In despair, Ahmad Sadi could do nothing but to leave the Sultan's palace on the white horse he had rode in on. Sadly, he rode from town to town, but no one knew anything about a palace being around that had appeared overnight, not to mention one with the Princess Alicia inside. You may wonder where was the true princess all this time. Dressed as a servant girl, she had crept outside of the palace the very day she had switched clothes with Nadia. Down to the marketplace she had gone, and there she met an aging merchant along the way. The old merchant told her he was tired from riding so many years from town to town, selling his potions and perfumes all around. The Princess Alicia was dressed humbly, yet she still carried herself like royalty. She gained the confidence of the old merchant, and when she offered to ride his camel train for him and share what she earned, he was delighted. That is how our Princess Alicia found herself up clopping through the desert, selling potions and perfumes from town to town. 2 days passed. Ahmad Sadi was no closer to finding his lost palace than he had been before he left the Sultan. Crouched in front of his tent, Ahmad Sadi held his head in his hands. What a sad face, the Princess Alicia was riding by, and she stopped her camel train. Perhaps a potion will make you feel better. No, thank you, said Ahmad Sadi. The only thing that could help is if I could bring back a princess and find my lost palace. You see, my palace vanished overnight to a place I know not where. The princess was probably inside. Oh, this is an impossible task. Maybe not, said the princess. In my travels, I heard of a palace in the desert that appeared out of nowhere not long ago. Really, said Ahmad Sadi. He looked up. Do you know where? I think so. I could take you there. If we left now, we could get there by morning. I'd be so grateful, said Ahmad Sadi. He had left all the jewelry fruits with his mother except one. This he offered to the camel rider as payment. Oh, keep it, said she with a wave of her hand. It's no trouble. Bring your horse to ride alongside my camel again. Riding through the night, the two of them spoke of many things. Ahmad Sadi marveled at the young lady's easy manner and generous spirit. He somehow knew she could be trusted. Before long, he told her his story of how he had discovered the magic lamp in the cave and how it had been stolen from him, along with the palace. As the morning's light brightened, they were riding between two very tall walls of rocks. Rose-colored they were, with thin bands of white and blue. Suddenly, the rock walls ended, and they arrived at a clearing. Look, said the princess, pointing ahead. Is that it? It is, Ahmad Sadi said. He cried out with joy, recognizing his palace. I hope Princess Alicia is still inside, he said. Though without my lamp, I have no way to get them both back in time. Just then, Nadia, who had been carried away along with the palace, as you no doubt remember, was looking out the window at the new guest. To her surprise, she recognized the rider of the camel as none other than her beloved former mistress. She waved at them both to come to the front door. The servants let in the guests. Nadia took them to the drawing room and shut the door. She said, Mistress, how glad I am to see you once more. I'm glad to see you too, Nadia. Ahmad Sadi was amazed. You two know each other, he said. But the princess only said to Nadia, tell me, how do you find being a princess? At first, the gowns were marvelous, she said. Everything I dreamed of and thought about in my head. And I liked well enough all the attention I got. But when I was carried away with this palace, the vizier came out with it. For the last 2 days, he has done nothing but fly about in a rage and smash things up. He locked me up in here. That's terrible enough, said Princess Alicia. There's more, said Nadia. He said with his lamp that tomorrow will return to the Sultan's land, and I will have to marry him and take his hand to be wed. He said with his lamp. Ahmad Sadi and the princess looked at each other. Princess Alicia turned to Nadia. Wait a minute, I have a plan. Princess Alicia gave Nadia one of the sleeping potions in her stock. She told Nadia that when the vizier returned that night, she must pour the sleeping potion into his wine. He would fall into a sleep so deep that he would not be awakened by any noise. That is what she did. When the wicked man was snoring, Nadia the princess and Ahmad Sadi searched everywhere for the magic lamp. At last, they found it. With the lamp in his hand, Ahmad Sadi said, now I can make a second wish. I am going to wish for this castle and everyone in it to go back to the Sultan's kingdom, except for the vizier. Wait, said Princess Alicia. Leave me behind too. Ahmad Sadi urged her to come with him, for Princess Alicia would have none of it. She liked the life of freedom she led. Ahmad Sadi did not like at all that she would be left behind with the vizier. But she assured him the vizier would not awaken for hours and she would have plenty of time to get far away. So Ahmad Sadi rubbed the lamp and stated his wish to the genie. In a whoosh, Ahmad Sadi, the palace and Nadia were all transported back to the very spot where the palace had stood before. The Sultan was delighted to have his daughter back, or you might say the young woman he believed to be his daughter, covered as she was in scarves. We will hold the wedding in 3 days, the Sultan said to Ahmad Sadi. Yet a sadness was growing in Ahmad Sadi's heart. Nadia was indeed a nice young woman and pleasant to look at too. But there was something about that woman who rode the camel train selling perfumes and potions. He could not get out of his mind the sound of her laugh, her clever mind, and the comfort of her company. At last he rubbed the lamp. Master, said the genie, is it mountains of jewels you want for your third wish, power over all the neighboring lands, or the strength of 100 men? None of that, said Ahmad Sadi. I wish you to take me back to the young woman I met on the camel ride, the seller of perfumes and potions. But master, this is your third and last wish, said the genie. What if you were to offer this woman your heart and she didn't choose you back? You'll miss your chance to marry the Sultan's daughter and become a prince. I don't care, said Ahmad Sadi. I must share with her what is in my heart. Whatever comes of it, so be it. So Ahmad Sadi made his third and last wish and was taken to the true princess. In her travels, she was not all that far from the Sultan's land, as it turns out. Ahmad Sadi shared his true feelings to her, and she returned the same feelings. She told him her story. That she had been born a princess, but now was happier living as a traveling merchant. Ahmad Sadi said he wanted nothing better than to spend the rest of his days with her by his side. And so they agreed to marry and together ride the camel train, selling potions and perfumes from town to town. Then such surprising news. Ahmad Sadi and the princess learned that the sultan had suddenly died. Said Ahmad Sadi to his new bride, "Since your father is gone, would you return now to your father's palace? We could rule the kingdom together, side by side." And so Ahmad Sadi and Princess Alicia returned to the palace. Nadia was very pleased to see them. She gladly stepped down to serve again as lady-in-waiting to Princess Alicia. For the rest of their lives, Ahmad Sadi and Princess Alicia ruled well and lived happiness, as you should too. That concludes my story for story time. Let's see who I missed here that came in. Hi, Frank G. How are you? So nice that you made it into story time. Hi, Scratching Queen. How are you? So glad to see you. Hi, Krishner. What's that? Passion? Bell Recipe. How are you? How are you? So glad that you could join me in the live. Hi, Westerner Paul. How are you? I'm so glad. I don't know at what time you all came in, but I'm so glad. Hi, Ricky Dior. How are you? Hi, Sadie Jeannie. How are you? So glad that you all were able to join me. I hope you came in time to catch the story. Hi, Sexy Teddy. How are you? So glad that you all could join me. I really appreciate you joining me at story time. I'm trying to see who else I missed that walked in while the story was going. I don't know what point you all made it in, but I'm so glad that you joined me. Hopefully you had an opportunity to hear the story. If not, you'll have to catch it on replay. But I'm so glad you made it in. Scratchy Queen says, you're all dressed up. That's right. I'm all dressed up for you all. Put on my best hat and my earrings. Oh, I'm glad you caught the story, Scratchy Queen. Thank you. Thank you, Kristen. Yeah, I figured I'd doll up a little bit for you all today. And I feel as good as you all say I look. I really do. I really do. I appreciate you all so much for making it into story time. I was logged in a little early tonight, so since I had people already in, I went right ahead and started story time right at 10. So I'm glad you came in early enough to hear story time. I appreciate it. I don't take any of you all coming in lightly. Not at all. I really appreciate it. I really, really do. I just want to let you know that I will have story time tomorrow. I'm going to be on a new schedule. I'm not going to be able to do story time every night anymore. Hey, Frank G, Frank Lifestyle Channel. I won't be able to do story time every night anymore because it's kind of getting to be a little too much for me. A lot goes into me preparing for story time, and it's just been a lot on me. So my new schedule with story time is going to be now on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So I'm going to do it that way. Have story time on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So that'll be my new time. And I will put a message up for those who are not here tonight, or as a reminder that story time will move to that time. Frank says, I understand that. Yeah, it's a lot that goes into it. And it was kind of wearing me out. So, I have to use wisdom. I want to get my my hours, my watch hours and stuff up, but I got to use wisdom too. So I'll be moving my story time just 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday. And if for some reason I feel differently and throw in an extra night, of course I'll always put a message out there to let you all know. that I'm gonna do a story time. But it's so nice to see new faces in the house. I think Westner Paul, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's your first time in, and Chrisner Pession, I think it's your first time here in story time. But I think everybody else has been here for the most part. And Ricky Dior, I think it's your first time in story time. And I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much. You all coming to hang out and spend some time with me in story time. I really appreciate it. Okay, Westner Paul said yes it is. Okay, Gigi says, okay, new schedule story time. Thank you, Gigi, for adding that in there for me in the live. Thank you so much. Especially if someone goes back and for replay. Aside from hearing it, they'll see it. I really appreciate that. So yes, that's what I'll be doing. Story time will be those 3 days. I hope everybody had a wonderful day today. So glad to see you all out here. I don't think anybody, we didn't have anybody today in our story that's in story time. For those of you who are new in story time, what I normally do is I use YouTubers' names as the characters in the story. And today, the YouTubers were the names that I called out. The main characters, Ahmad Sadi, that's a YouTuber. Let's see. Alicia is a YouTuber. Princess Alicia. And what was the father's name? This was one story that didn't have a whole lot of characters. Because I've had some stories with like 50, 60 characters in there. But what I do is I use YouTubers as the characters in the stories. Depending on what their names is, you'll be in there as a person, place, or a thing based on what your YouTube name is. But that's who I use as the characters in the story. And that's my way of also giving a shout out to the different channels. That way, if it's somebody that you haven't subscribed to, you will have their names now. So if you're possibly interested, then you can go ahead and subscribe to them. Viper Nate is also a YouTuber. Ms. Iris says, great story. I am now going to bed. Good night, Deborah and Chad. Thank you so much for coming by, Ms. Iris. Love you. Talk to you later. Viper Nate was a YouTuber. Is a YouTuber. Viper Nate. And Mala Deer is a YouTuber. And it's spelled M-A-L-A and then D-I-R. That's a YouTuber. Arif Sarkar 247 is a YouTuber, and that's spelled A-R-I-F and then S-A-R-K-E-R 247. Hello, Forever Noni's World. How are you? I'm well, thanks. I'm sorry that you missed the story. You just missed the story. You'll have to catch it on replay. But so glad to have you here. So that's a YouTuber. Arif Sakar 247. Yasnol Orisaint is a YouTuber, and that's spelled Y-S-N-O-L-D. And the last name, part of the name is O-R-I-S-A-I-N-T. So those are all YouTubers that were in the story today. Hi, I'm tired. How are you? So glad that you could join us. Unfortunately, you missed the story already, but I'm glad that you stopped by. I really appreciate it. Yeah, you'll have to, okay, Forever Known this word said I'll watch it on replay. Yeah, I'm tired. You'll have to also catch the story on replay. I just finished our story. I started on time today. I had the live. I logged into the live a couple of minutes early, and since I had people already sitting in, I went ahead and got started. I know. But at least you can play it back laying down. Let it put you to sleep. Frank said, "Hey, forever not." Okay, Frank is speaking to Nani's World, and I'm tired. Yeah, so those were the YouTubers in the story today. We didn't have a lot of characters, but we did have those. So those were the characters that we used in our story today. We finished the last story. We finished that the other day. So this was a totally new story. I'm tired says GTG, but I wish I could stay. And on his word, say hello, Frank. She's speaking to Frank's lifestyle. Scratching Queen says is speaking to Noni's World. Yeah, so that's the deal. But anyways, you all, I'm not gonna prolong the time. I know tomorrow is Monday. A lot of people got to get up early for work and all. Okay, have a great night. I don't know what happened here. I cut off for a little bit. Nani's World is speaking to Scratching Queen. Okay. But I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. My electronics acting up now. But anyways, like I said, I don't take it for granted that you all stopped by to see me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Always remember, may his peace be with you until we meet again. And always remember, I have a will to live. Good night.